Kate Green, tell us about the book.
Hi, Malcolm. So my book is called The Curious Kidnapping of Nora W. Here it is, and it tells the story of Nora Wojnarowski, who is at the start of the book a 122-year-old Holocaust survivor about to become the oldest person in the history of the world. And it tells the story of the 18 days before this amazing world record-breaking event happened, the fact that her loving family, all of whom live in North London, want to have this wonderful party, this rather typical North London Jews, a bit bling bling. And Nora, in fact, wants nothing to do with it. She's living in her care home. She decides that she just wants to, organize things her own way, if at all. And at the start of the book, she actually disappears from her care home with her favorite carer, Arifa, who happens to be a Syrian refugee who's been in London for a few years after having escaped the civil war in Syria. So if you like, it's really a story about the events surrounding this, how the family reacts, and the friendship between these two really quite unlikely friends, Nora and Arifa.
So is it really a kidnapping?
Well, I mean, it's a curious kidnapping. From the family's point of view, I'd say it definitely is a kidnapping. Quite clearly, though, Nora is in on her own disappearance, so I guess it's debatable as to whether one could really call it that. It's certainly a shock to her family. I mean, as I say, she's 122 years old and she's living in a care home, and suddenly she's gone, so they have no idea what's going on. I will say that quite early on in the book, it's not a spoiler. They do track her down, but I'm not going to talk too much about their reactions and how they, whether they manage to get her back home, as they would put it, or what quite happens once they find her.
This is a very difficult time in the world when there's a lot of hatred between Jews and also people in the Arabic world. And your main protagonists here are a Holocaust survivor and a Syrian refugee. Is this a heartwarming story?
I certainly hope so. Yeah, I definitely set out to write a book, obviously long before the current events, but of course the current events are simply the latest episode in a centuries-old conflict. So yes, I certainly set out to write something that was heartwarming, that would make people think, I hope, and that really gave out a message of tolerance and peace. I mean, it's a book with some very serious subjects. It's a book not about the Holocaust, but with the Holocaust in the background, a book about refugees and their place in the world. So there's some very serious subjects, but it's also got a lot of humor. Nora is a very feisty character. She, I think, is very funny, and I believe that a lot of readers agree with me. And ultimately, yeah, there's a real message, I think, of friendship, of tolerance, about the fact that ultimately, whatever our religion, whatever our background, we are human beings, we're people, and that hopefully we can find things in common between us, that we can reach out and be friends with people wherever we come from and whatever our own experiences are.
What sort of reaction have you had to the book so far?
Well, listen, I'm really pleased to say that I've had great reaction. It's been published now in the UK, Australia, and South Africa, I think, now for just over a year. Certainly, all the reviews have been really very good. Well over 4 stars on most of the forum. And as I say, people have mostly genuinely said that they've laughed and they've cried. And I think that's what really I set out to achieve, that people would find it moving and poignant, but would also enjoy. It's not a book that's intended to make you just cry and just feel bad about the world. It's also really, entertaining, I hope. And as I say, once again, to give this idea that, yeah, we can, as individuals, whatever our background, we can reach out and enjoy life with people who we may not have met usually and may not have thought we could be friends with.
How important is it for you to be published in America?
Listen, it's really important. Obviously, it's a huge market. I'm very excited that people on the other side of the Atlantic are going to be able to read all about Nora W. and Arifa and the family. Also, it's very important for me that it's being published in North America generally, because the woman that the main character is based on, my late mother-in-law, who was also a Holocaust survivor, when she after the war, she was a refugee in Canada. And in the book, the book is set in London because that's where I'm from and what I know. But in fact, she lived in Canada, in Montreal, and ran a corner shop the same way that Nora in the book ran a corner shop in London. So although it's very much fictional, there is quite a lot that's based on her life after the war in Canada. The shop that's open 7 days a week, the only days it's shut are the main Jewish holidays of the New Year and Yom Kippur. So I think it's great that Nora, in a way, is going to be going back home to Canada.
Kate Green, thanks very much indeed, and the best of luck with it.
Thanks so much to you, Malcolm. Thanks.